We're ready? Yeah. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So the second law, make it attractive. What do you guys think? You're
Makes you want to age.
Jackie's struggling with it. Why is she struggling?
Like, I don't know how to reward myself for staying on task without rewarding myself for something bad.
Well, isn't it the result that is the reward?
Well, you kind of reward yourself.
Okay.
So like, what helps me sometimes, which like I got the tracker because I've been trying to weigh in every day. And so with my smart scale, I actually got a little badge for being consistent on jumping on scale and for leaving my weight extend.
Very good.
So I got a badge, and so badges like that actually do help me. So I gotta get something.
Jackie likes visual rewards. She likes a badge. Oh, we know Jackie does. Jackie likes awards. She likes certificates. She wants trophies. Whenever it's end of year, Jackie always goes in for the award. And I'm like, no, I don't want those things. Jackie's like, I do. Yeah. Yeah. Connie, what do you think about that?
About physical awards?
Well,
Or-
about Jackie struggling with the reward part of it. Like,
I think that it's, everybody likes the completion and the award, but I guess the process is more important to me, the process of getting there and learning. An award, yeah, it is the finish. It's the little, like they said, it's somewhere in the chapter, it says, oh, I want that pin and I want that award and I want all that stuff. Not important really to me as much as what did I learn from the process of getting there.
yeah,
That's me.
yeah.
But that's because, and I'm gonna harp on staging, but when you stage something, I walk out and I'm done. And I'm like, yay, it looks fabulous. I don't need an award. I know I did my job.
But isn't that the reward?
That is the award. That is,
right?
yeah.
So I guess, I mean, how does that relate with real estate? If you're making, if the habit is making cold calls, what's the reward?
Somebody answering and you getting a lead.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
The process and the learning and the struggle of going through it, but like it says in the beginning of the book, those 1% things that you're doing every little moment that you can is really the long term of the award.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
is the reward going to be the answer of the call? Is it going to be getting the lead, or is it going to be getting the sale? Which part of it is the reward?
Well, the true reward should be that you did the activity. The true reward is knowing, like, you have, like, for instance, a scorecard that you have a complete block of all exits.
There you go.
And so that's where trying to get in the habit of.
So don't you think also that applies if you're a task driven person?
Mhm.
Like, I like putting those lists, I like putting those things in my phone, and I like checking them off.
Yeah.
To me, that's the reward. I mean, ultimately what happens is because of that, right? But that to me is the reward. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else have any ideas? What do you think, Jordan?
I'm so sorry.
That's all right,
I want to get that done.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I think I have to do it more rewarding. It's talk about two different ways, right? Like if I'm playing on my phone, then I'm gonna force myself to do the exercise afterwards. I have to do just the opposite. Otherwise, I think I'd stare at my phone for a long time.
You have to do that. Oh, as a reward, like do the exercise, then you get to get on your phone.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Like talking about rewards, like, are you reward driven, task driven? What's the reward after you do?
I think most people is reward driven, like that positive reinforcement.
But what's it gonna be for you? Like, if you're cold calling, is the reward
Leads, man.
the lead?
The
See, for
leads.
Jordan, it's the
Yeah.
lead. It's
Yep,
the lead.
leads.
Okay.
Good leads, not bad leads, but
Anybody else online who wants to chime in on that? No? Are they there? Can they
We have
hear?
Alexis, we have Brandy.
This is Brandy. I think mine is the anticipation of the reward.
Oh, so the dopamine.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the dopamine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right? Because did you guys read that part of the book? That was so interesting to me.
Oh.
The dopamine. So the dopamine
Yeah.
isn't just doing, it's knowing you're going to do it. I know I'm going to do this in the anticipation of it. And then you get that dopamine rush.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I love, because I love the analogy. You said, how your kids Christmas morning, they're just like, the night before they wake up at
Mhm.
3 a.m.
It's the buildup.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
buildup.
the buildup.
And then
Just
it's a little bit,
Yeah,
a
like,
letdown, right?
yeah,
After
exactly.
it's kind of a letdown because the Christmas is the anticipation and we're shopping and we're getting ready and we're gonna do this and it's gonna be Christmas and then it happens and you're like,
Everybody's burnt out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Thanksgiving dinner. You cook all day and it's gone in 10.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I think that's for me too, because I'm not one who likes surprises. So I like that build up first and I know what's coming and then, afterwards, but surprise, it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen and I probably won't like it. And yeah. So anyways, yeah.
So he talks about the more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit forming. How can we make habits in our business attractive?
You have to see the results of it paying off most of the time. Once you start seeing results, the more attractive it becomes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
If that's how you're driven.
Well, it's like doing an open house, like you do all these open houses, and sometimes you don't get anyone, but you finally do get somebody and put that commission, it's like, okay, all those open houses where nobody ever should have, really worth it.
right.
And we talked about that right now, you were yesterday, Sarah, we're in a market where you're not gonna necessarily see the benefits immediately.
Yeah.
Like the groundwork you lay now, when rates do come down, that's when it's gonna explode, you'll have 10
Right.
houses in escrow.
Right.
But right now, so it might be a little bit more, difficult to accomplish that now, you still get results, but just not.
Well, it's what we were talking about with sphere of influence and making your care calls. The ones that are doing them now, when this market breaks, you're gonna be the ones they talk to. That's gonna be the reward.
Spirit growing, it's
That's it.
that
Right.
you might not get anything from it, but just
Yeah.
seeing it grow is gonna be the biggest benefit. I mean, you go from 1 week, 30 people in there to the next, 4 weeks later, you got 50 people in there,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like,
Right.
okay, eventually this is all gonna turn into something.
Yeah.
Right,
Sure.
you've gotta feed that, you've gotta think of long-term goals, long-term rewards, not just short-term
Not just if
rewards.
you're in-
And I think in real estate, you've really gotta think about long-term rewards. It's not always gonna be
Yeah.
right there, because obviously, you get that listing, oh, that's a reward, right? But then you've gotta get through the process, but some of those leads are not gonna turn into deals right away, but those are in the pipeline. Those I think are one of the best. I mean, when you work on something that's in your pipeline, you've been nurturing it,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a reality, that is sweeter
Yeah.
than the ones that just call and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
immediate. Yeah. Yeah,
I have something to say. So, reading this, it was kind of like, my idea was, like what they're saying is to, bundle it.
can you guys hear Chris? Okay,
Make it attractive by bundling. So in real estate, there's things that we know we need to do to be successful. If we can literally write those out. And then those tasks, bundle it with things that maybe they're not good things, but they're things that we do currently have habits doing that we enjoy.
like what? Like, do you have an example?
Yeah, so for example, like one of my faults is, I get caught up on watching videos or something on my phone, right? So I wanna have a visual that tells me in a habit that I create that's like, okay, I'm not allowed to watch any videos until I check the MLS and I've made 3 calls to my sphere. So then, if I'm bundling that with something that I'm already doing, and I'm making it attractive by bundling, then it's like, okay, what am I doing now? And then I have to have visuals, so like I have to like see stuff like in front of me, charts, like something hanging on the wall, that just says, before you get on social media, or before you do this, did you make your 3 calls and check the MLS, or just something like that, I know that's gonna be very helpful, so, and then you create that habit by tying and bundling together. I don't know, so that's what I wanted to throw.
Yeah, so you make a habit that's a bundle,
Make it attractive for yourself to be consistent in
Right.
achieving the award.
right? And you might do something that's not as,
Right.
that you don't want to do as much with something that you do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something that you do every day, just tie them together. If you tie those things together and you make a point to do that. I don't know how to, I mean, I guess,
yeah. Yeah, because not all the habits that we need to do for our business are gonna be pleasurable, right? I mean, there's a lot of habits that we don't wanna do, but you've got to do it. Or you should do it, right, to get the results. So maybe if you
Yeah,
pair those together and make that a bundle, then you'll get over that because you know there's a reward, right? Although the ultimate reward is the lead or the deal, but at least it's a short-term reward right then.
yeah,
Okay,
makes it easier to get through.
okay. Okay, and what ways do you think that we can think of to make habits more enticing for us? Like for cold, what are the habits for real estate? Like, what are they? What should we be doing?
Making appointments.
Making appointments.
Going to Appointments, negotiating contracts, making phone calls, there's 5 of them, there's 2 other ones, what are the 2 other ones?
Well, and to get to the point of making appointments,
Make phone calls.
you gotta make phone calls.
It's making contacts, previewing homes, i.e. showing homes. Adding contacts to your database and booking appointments.
I would add,
Negotiating
if
contracts.
you're into the social media, then you really need to,
Do your posts.
yeah, you really need a time block, for either touring homes and, doing videos or whatever. Because that's, for me, I've gotten a lot of response, like, and just when I go show a house, I'll pick the nice ones. But, do a little reel, like Ronnie,
Yeah.
what Ronnie had said, like, hey, it works, and I'm not like, I don't like to be on social media, so for me, that's hard, that's like one of the things I don't like.
It's really-
But you do get a lot of benefits, so you gotta do it.
So there's
Yeah,
more,
I have medium with it too, though, 'cause some people only do social media.
right,
and they don't make
right, but
any calls or do-
that's where I think the 1% comes in,
Yeah.
because look, there's phone calls, so that's care calls or cold calling or farming or whatever you're doing. Then there's social media, right? That's another little avenue we can be using to get leads, because ultimately, I think in real estate, what's the reward? Leads,
Mhm.
right? Leads, and which lead to closings. You've got to have the leads to get the closings.
Yeah,
So it's social media, it's open houses, so you can have a habit of doing social media, a habit of doing open houses, a habit of doing
and you
your
can kill
calls,
2 birds with 1 stone,
Yeah.
like what Chris was saying, bundling.
bundling it.
When you're, if you do 1 open house a week, then that's when you're gonna do your major posts and videos.
Exactly,
or-
and you can save them. You
So-
don't need to do those right
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Take lots of pictures, preview houses. That's another way you
It's like-
can
It's
post.
like Desiree, remember where she'd go do showings for 1 day and she'd post them for like 2 weeks. just
Yeah,
to
she
get-
just kept them in her phone and she used those as posts. So we've got social media, we've got cold calling, care calls, whatever we're gonna call it. We've got open houses. What else are habits that we should be doing?
Sending properties to people, but they're in your database, like MLS or.
Right, how about searching MLS every day? Because that leads to, so searching MLS leads to me posting listings that I think are interesting
Your contact.
and sending them out, so that's a touch to your clients.
Not only that, but what Chris showed me with Home Pulse.
Oh my God,
You have to think about it.
that's so amazing. I love, and then how about working your database? That's a habit you guys should be doing every day. That is the biggest one that nobody wants to do. It is the most painful, but it holds the biggest reward. It's insane to me that when I ask agents, how are you doing on your database? And they're like,
What's that?
I have it all right here. And what do I say? This is the communication with your database. This is not your database. You've got to be strategic with it. So if there's one thing that I think, unless you're really good at your database, but if you're not, you better be spending time on that every day. So maybe it's those kind of things like bundling an open house with taking pictures and getting ready for your social media. Maybe it's previewing houses, and then, who knows?
Well, you wanna tie what, I read the right part, right?
Yeah, you did.
Nobody's saying that stuff. I'm looking at it like. Make it easy, like bundle things
Yeah.
that go together that you're already doing.
Don't add
So,
extra.
Right.
I go on Facebook. Nobody knows that I really ever post anything, but I look on Facebook. And that's one of the things that I wrote down is, when I go on Facebook, before I can look at anything else from anybody else, watch any videos, do anything like that, I need to post my own a business post.
Yes.
See, so Chris is doing something that he doesn't really want, but with the anticipation of knowing you're gonna be able to go on Facebook after that.
That's the dopamine.
It's the
rush that
dopamine.
They're talking about, it's the anticipation, it's not doing or actually achieving, it's the anticipation of it, so. If you can tie those together, things together, like, you know, this, write down a list of things that you do throughout the day that are habits currently. And then pick something that's similar to that and then like, just put it in front of you, where it's like, okay, I cannot do this until I do this first.
Right. And then he also says it is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. Do you think that's true?
Yes. It depends on your motivation, but
Yeah.
I think it is.
The anticipation?
The best example was the casino thing. Like, you get the dopamine rush just pulling the freaking lever before
That's
you
pretty-
So it's the anticipation that you might win.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to throw an axe and I was pumped.
Oh, yeah, Lacey was axe throwing. She was very, very pumped.
Pumped about it, and I didn't even throw the axe yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then after you do it, you're probably like that, okay.
No, I was upset.
So I can't do it
I
again.
hit the target once.
Yep.
You missed the-
You did good. Desire is the engine that drives behavior. So do you have to have identify the desire first before, and then to do the behavior? I mean, the desire is to get leads, right?
Yeah.
The desire is to close escrows.
Mhm.
What do I have to do that?
Yeah.
And I think I have a big desire to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I get to have those conversations and figure out what their desires and biggest needs are, and me fulfilling that is like my biggest strive, I feel like.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And then the reward that comes out of
It's
that.
the close,
Mhm.
yeah, and then I make.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's you're right, Chris. It says here, you're more likely, I go through and highlight a bunch of stuff in this book, but you're more likely to find a behavior attractive if you get to do one of your favorite things at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So anything about that section that we didn't cover that you want to talk about? That not, I'm going on to the next, the role of family and friends in shaping your habits, but back to the other part. Is there anything anybody wants to add, interject, comment?
But we haven't. read them.
Yeah, we have 9.
Yeah. All the way to law 2.
Oh,
All
yes.
law 2 before, stop before law 3.
Yeah. Oh, Brandy says the same thing. She likes helping people too. So that's the reward, right?
Definitely.
That's the reward. Anybody else have anything else they want to add to this part?
It's like what we just talked about. It's easy to like read all this and then be motivated, like, oh yeah, you know, but it's the implementation that is the really where it stops, you know, is like the implementation side of it. So, I feel like we need to all like figure out some sort of game plan of implementation. Like we have
Yeah.
this information, makes sense, it's cool, now what? You know, and just
Yeah.
really think about that on an individual level, like. Don't just look at it and say, this looks cool, this looks good, let's do it, but like, what are you gonna have to do? And how are you gonna implement it into your life? You just like apply it.
Right. So I think that is what we should be doing right now. Chris is right. Like we should be sitting down and making a list of those things, because you think about it, you don't do it. You make a list and you go through and you check it off and you do it.
Chris sharing his, it made me think of what I know I'm gonna do, which for me is, I have my preset tabs. And since adding clients into my database is something I want to do, but it's like tab 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I prioritize always the emails because that's usually where my urgency requests are. So I need my plan is I'm gonna move my tab for sync to the first tab. So before I can check my emails in the morning, I have to add my 5 contacts and post 1 property. So then I can close that tab.
See,
That's a good.
Um,
that's a
Instead
good
of
one,
having it
Jackie.
too far out, because in theory, I push it out because it's a quick thing to do, but it gets so pushed out.
But that's
that,
why you should do it early,
Sure.
because it's a quick thing
Yeah.
to do.
And so that's what I'm gonna do. Right after this, I'm gonna go update my tabs.
For me too, I need to do that.
Well, like Lacey, you're talking about like helping people.
Yeah.
So one of your things is, could be potentially, okay, I need to identify or not even identify, just plug in 3 people that you're going to help that's on your target list in the scene.
Yeah, I need to put
Yeah.
that steam tap first.
One a day.
You're gonna have 360 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So so starting January 1st, just do 1 a day.
Well, it
One
talks
day.
about that in the earlier chapter, what if you're 1% better every day? and
Yes.
37, but if you're 1% less every day, you go down to 0.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. 1% better, 1%
It doesn't have
less.
to be a big task. I think the problem is we bite off more than we can chew.
Well,
And then you get discouraged.
Yeah.
well, did you see that quote? So I go through and I highlight and I write favorite quote until I get to my next favorite quote, which is my new favorite quote. So my first favorite quote was join a culture where your desired behavior is
Yes.
normal behavior,
Yes,
right? You already have something in common with the group. Well,
yes.
hello,
It's
you
this.
know, we do, right?
That's as important as everything that
So
we
that's
talked about.
Huge.
Because if you don't, I tell my kids all the time, if you don't put people that are good influence around you,
Yeah.
then you're gonna fail.
You are your
miserably.
environment, yeah.
You're gonna be miserable or vice versa, like you gotta have the same principles and the same.
Yes.
You have to.
Well, did you read that about, well, the first of that was the guy that wanted his kids to play chess, right? And he found a wife and they had these kids and they raised them to play chess. And I mean, I thought that was
Yeah.
amazing. And they
That was
turned
the
into
first thing I
genius.
put down on mine.
I thought that was so interesting because I thought, oh, that'll never work, but it did. It did.
That's something that we can about.
No,
Well, it's like
Queen's Gambit.
professional athletes that have kids that, I mean, look at LeBron's kid, he's got 2 kids that are gonna be in the NBA. Yeah, oh, yeah, that whole thing.
So we imitate the habits of 3 groups, the close, the many, and the powerful, right? Because we want to model ourselves after successful people, right? I mean, I do it. I'm online, I'm looking at people, I'm looking, oh, I look up to them, oh, I want to do that. You start seeing what they're doing, what their habits are, and we model them, right? So.
You just have to be careful because I think just on a bigger picture, sometimes, you have to also be you too. You know what I mean? Like, I think because the problem is like everybody, our generation, we're looking at everybody's life on Facebook and then it's like, if we don't have that, then you're not happy. Like, that's just kind of why a lot of people look at, you know, depression, all these things are like all-time highs, not to get off topic, but just,
But
you
that's
gotta be careful.
surround
That's it, yeah,
the influence that you wanna portray.
that's it, 100%.
You gotta surround,
Yeah.
have that community to support the identity and your desires that you
Yeah.
want in your life.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, and then in also in the flip side of that is if you're surrounding yourself with people with bad habits, you're gonna do it, but you
Yeah.
see it, right? One bad apple, you know, at the office, oh, it's terrible, you know, it's this, it's that, and pretty soon everybody, it's terrible. You know, you pick up on that. So I think it is important and it's been important to me at this office that people have the right culture, right? The right mindset, so
Absolutely.
that it's people see what is going on.
And
And
it's attractive.
it's
Yeah.
attractive,
We don't have to recruit because we're attracting.
right,
It's attractive.
right.
I think our group is very attractive to people.
I think so too. I mean, Jordan and I were talking about that yesterday.
Let anybody in either, you know, like you said, it's very important to you to have the culture be good. and
Right,
you
right,
gotta choose that.
right, exactly.
Could not be for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it does say remaining part of the group after achieving a goal is crucial to maintaining your habits.
What was that? Say that again?
Remaining part of a group after achieving a goal is crucial to maintaining your habits.
Yeah, you gotta keep it together.
Right,
You gotta keep.
you gotta stay with that group. So that's why, like alcohol AA, right? They go to meetings and they continue to go to meetings
Because
even after
the
they
people that have
stop.
been in the game a long time, right? You're always gonna, like a newer agent, right? It's kind of like that new that guy that's just started AA.
like you always have the vets who are picking up the young guns, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like so you gotta help those that are weaker, you know?
Right.
And then that exactly, you not only help yourself, but you helping them too.
It's like an upside down triangle, you know, the leader's at the top of the mountain, but the leader goes down the mountain every single time to pick out in the crowd another leader, bring them back to the top of the mountain.
Yep.
So it's like that upside down triangle.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
So do you think, Jordan, you have to be careful about who you're imitating, who you're
I just think
modeling?
so, you know, especially, again, we're all adults, like we all have a good head on our shoulders, like you
Right.
said, our office is good, but that's a problem I see, especially like with a lot of young people, is everybody's on, you know, trying to be an influencer.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so you just have to guard yourself. Because sometimes then when you're constantly trying to imitate or reach, you know, this, you know, ultimate level of success, you lose the journey, you know what I mean? Like you miss out on the little things in between, because you're constantly just focused on getting this, hitting this ultimate, you know, top of the echelon goal. You know what I mean?
That might not necessarily
You
make it
forget that it's the little things, like it's the journey, like we live in such a fast, you know, bang, 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 bang culture now. We want it now, and so you just be careful with it, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not bad to have goals and wanna, you know,
Right.
kinda.
Put in the work.
But that's where
Exactly.
kids get drawn into peer pressure, right? Because they want to fit in.
Yes.
They want to be accepted. So sometimes they might be doing some things,
Yeah.
bad
It
habits.
goes into who do you have around you?
Exactly. Again, it goes back to who you surround yourself with.
The average of the 5
Yep, you're an average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with, like just, and yeah, there's so many principles, man, like. I haven't read this book, but like, I need to get it,
Yeah.
because, like, a lot of these things, I read similar things, you know. But it's just like, this is, everything so far is like on point,
Yeah,
man.
it is.
It really, you can tell,
Really.
you know, whoever wrote it they know what they're talking about, for sure.
So it says we tend to imitate the habits of 3 social groups: the close, which are family and friends,
Yeah.
which we do, right? The many, which is our tribe. So I would say this is our tribe, right? This is our real estate tribe. And the powerful, those with status and prestige. And so, I mean, where do you see those people with status and prestige? Probably online,
Yeah.
Who you follow on social.
who we
media.
follow on social media.
Yeah.
That can be good, bad, or otherwise. I mean, I'm careful with it. I look at people. There's
Yeah.
things that I'm like, oh, that one good idea, though. That's how I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
about it.
for
When you
sure.
go to a convention, when we go to
I'm excited.
next week, where is it? We're going?
And
Anaheim. We're going to Anaheim, yes. And so it's, you know, I always say one good idea, one,
Yeah.
because they may be doing a whole bunch of stuff that
Yeah.
doesn't work for us, but if you get one good idea out of it, it's such a,
It's true, yeah.
they tend to get there. People always see just the goal and not how those people got there. They see people
Yeah.
who are successful, like you
Yeah.
who does all these closing, who does that, and people are like.
They
"Oh,
don't see the grind, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't see the grind, man, and the bad times that
Yeah.
they had to persevere through.
right.
Well, those are the
You
things
know?
that people
That's
focus on.
not
And
bad.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm still
Yeah.
struggling.
Social media is a hype is what it is. Like,
Yes.
So all everything, not those like, oh, hey, I was making 1 million phone calls today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm on cold call 122 and I haven't, and nobody's answered.
And see what happens is then when you go to try to, you know, you see that success. When you try, you know, you're trying and then you get discouraged because all you see is the good. You didn't see on the back end, what they had to go through. You know, so but that's why I like this office too. We talk about it all the time. Because like, we talk, you know,
It's more
like, hey,
real.
what are you going through?
Yeah.
Like, man, I had this type of escrow, like I went through hell over here. And so what does that do? That, oh man, well, you know, if you can do it, then I can do it, you know? And
Yeah.
it's about building people up.
Yeah.
and
Like,
people
just
don't-
being around your
Because
family, too.
not every role model is gonna fit your personality, because there's some of those
Mhm.
real estate guys, like. Name some of them.
I don't like Mike Ferry.
Mike
I-
Ferry.
Tom Ferry.
Some of them are very pushy. It doesn't fit my personality. It's not somebody that I would,
Yeah.
I look up to them because of what they've done,
Yeah.
what they've done. But can I do that myself? The way they did it with the scripts that they use, I cannot.
Yeah.
It does not fit my personality. So I do think that I try and align myself with people that I admire that are a little bit similar to me,
Yeah, for sure.
right?
Like,
Yeah, you can still cherry pick some of the things like you talked about, you know.
Mhm.
Well, it's like
one
for
or two
me,
things that they do.
I was talking to someone yesterday, I was like, we're talking podcasts, I'm like, oh, I don't listen to them often, but when I do, it's Brian Eisenhower, Brian Buffini, and then the car legal update, like, it's all roughly real estate related.
Maxwell is good.
You listen to a podcast about car legal.
Yes. You can do it too. So when you come to me with a problem, I already know.
Yeah, Jackie's got it up another notch. Jackie listens to a podcast about car legal. Now that is painful to me.
Why our office is amazing. okay?
Yeah, well, because of Jackie.
I do it so you don't have to.
Yeah.
See the sacrifice Jackie makes for all of you.
See, driving down the road, hello, guys.
No, that's a beauty. Shallon and Gov, they are good to listen to, right? Like, well, cause that's why, like, Gov, I just said, you don't wanna go down to the expo, even though Gov's coming in October. If there's another class that I really wanna go to, I go into the legal aspects that they have. Because the scenarios that they're talking about are issues that are in California.
Yeah.
And so then I'll be like, okay, well, I heard this could happen, but in most case scenario, kind of like how Terry, when we have that situation, like, oh yeah, this is what they did. Some of them will
Thank
never
God
see.
for you.
Thank God for Jackie. So when we have pressure, so I was thinking about this when we were at Keller Williams, there was some agents who are strictly cold calling, right? I mean, they lock themselves in a room and cold call, and it's a habit. Even though like I ask me to cold call and be like, not happening,
Yeah.
not happening, I'm not cold calling. So I think sometimes when you have a habit, that is a good habit, but maybe different from what the tribe is doing. You have to stand very strong in your convictions, right? Because if that person allowed other agents to influence a little more, they probably would stop doing that, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing a habit that is not what the whole tribe is doing, you've got to be very,
Yeah.
you've really got to be strong in your conviction to do that, to overcome that.
For sure.
The journey, that's part of their journey. that's
Yep.
part of their-
Yeah.
Well,
So there is gonna be some differences in the journey, but you know, you've just gotta make sure that you are really
Yeah.
doing those habits and feeling the reward that works for you. May not be the reward that works for somebody
Sure.
else,
It's true.
right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the cold calling guy, he's gauging the reward by how many appointments he made that day, how many calls, how many appointments, but for Lacey, it's more like, how many people did she help that day?
Yeah.
It's 1,000%. How many relationships did I build and be able to help someone? Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, and then if you have a lot of habits that you want to build, do you think it's more effective to build them one at a time?
Absolutely.
Or do you think you should just like do it, like lay it all out at once?
And I think you get overwhelmed with yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like people who even just like come down to like diet and exercise, people like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna do this. And then eventually
You
they
get
just
burned
get
out.
overwhelmed,
Yeah.
burned out rather than just getting one
Baby
thing.
steps.
But
at a
how
time.
does that apply to the 1%?
Baby steps, because the 1% are still doing something.
Mhm.
They don't stop. See,
Well,
that's-
then he's saying do like 1% change, make a 1% change.
Well, you
across the
build
board.
on it though.
Start off with going to the gym first and
Yeah.
then change or start eating differently. And then the next, after you have been consistent with that, then go to the gym.
Yes.
And then you start taking supplements and doing things
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
That's one of the things that you're cute to do with the bad things, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Keep yourself away
For
from
sure.
it.
right, right.
But-
That's one of the mistakes that wait.
It's like, you know, you have a
Cues.
problem with Taco Bell and the health food stores next door, go to a different health food store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You walk out of the gym and you're next to the donut shop.
yeah, man.
I thought in the earlier chapter, he talks about, he said something like that, you eat one bad meal a day, it's not gonna change the scale, but you keep slipping back into that where, oh, I can do this. Oh, I did that, so I can do this,
Yeah.
and then that one, you start going that 1% the other way.
That's how the human mind works, man. It's really easy.
You're like, I had one cookie, okay, that's not bad, but then next thing you know, you went back 2 minutes later, had another cookie.
Yeah. Then you're saying, where'd all the cookies go? Well, what I thought was interesting on this was how, kind of like the subconscious
part of it, like, we don't really think about, you know, exactly why we do, but what stood out to me and like kind of hit me when reading this was that when you're performing the bad habits, it's not the actual bad habit that you're craving. It's the desire to feel differently.
Yeah.
From one state to the next. It's like when I want to have one of these zins, I'm not craving the zin. I'm craving
What it is.
the feeling of needing stress relief or
Yes.
needing something. I need
Yeah.
to change my feeling, the way I feel needs to change.
Yep.
And that's what activates that habit. And that's all like subconscious stuff. And a lot of this stuff, all of our like overeating, that's subconscious. It's
What
not
about
just
stress eating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
stress eating, right? So I look at this and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a list of these bad habits. And I'm gonna ask myself why I'm doing each one of those things. And then I'm gonna pick something positive, a good habit. And I'm gonna just experiment and like see if I can get a good thing to
I'm gonna
give
ask
me
you
that,
about
yeah.
that next.
Yeah.
Check in with you.
Yeah.
do that.
That's really awesome if you could do that, because I think that would be kind of difficult for me to identify all my bad habits and ask myself why I have these.
Maybe that's what we should all do for next week.
Yeah.
Identify our bad habits.
I'm gonna do that.
You know, a lot of the habits we form, it's based off like experience, right? Things our parents did, like if we really.
Right,
think about like,
parents,
the
yeah.
Struggles we have, like,
Yeah,
there's some things that I look at my parents or my dad, I'm like, yeah, now I see why I do that, you know? So you gotta identify like well, Chris, you hit the nail on the head, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you've gotta start choosing better ways to relieve your stress, you know? We get used to, you know, like you said, you're chasing a feeling. This client's stressing me out right now. So in the past, I've drank to relieve that stress. Like everybody's different.
Yeah.
Some
Right.
it's eating, some are drinking, some it's whatever, like, but it's choosing just an alternative. Now, the key is that alternative, and you need to be prepared for it. That alternative is not gonna give you the same relief right away as what you're used to. And that's where we struggle.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That's where we struggle, because we want that instant relief. And if you'll find out that a lot of the good things you choose, it takes time to really, it really takes time getting used to, you know,
Yeah.
get used to it. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight, you know? So,
Hey,
and what
Sarah?
happens is, like, for me, you end up going back, hey, this isn't, you know, you go for a couple weeks, like trying something,
and then
you're not getting that gratification, that instant stress relief, so what happens? You go back to what you've been
So,
used to.
so don't you think that one key element of building better habits is self-awareness,
Yeah,
right? You've got to be self-aware.
Yes.
You've got to, like, I think we all
Yeah.
should take some time before next Wednesday. Oh, we're not gonna be here.
The following
Wednesday so you can read and do this and write down, I'm gonna do it. Like, what are my bad habits? What am I doing that is not a good habit?
My plan is to do just a daily journal, like, what did I do today that was bad?
Oh,
So
Jackie's
then I
gonna do a daily journal and then she's gonna pick what's good or what's bad from that. That is smart.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah,
So what I've noticed, going back and seeing, you guys were talking about what we can do to get rid of some of the bad habits. Sometimes if you start working on creating some good habits, that eliminates some of the bad habits that you have. One example that I have is, one of my bad habits is I never knew how to turn off myself when I was at home and dedicate some time to the family. As you can tell right now, I'm at work and I can't turn it off. But so what I did is I started creating I started looking for a good habit to try to do, and which was I would stop all communication related to real estate at one point at night. So let's say 9 o'clock at night, I would stop with real estate related calls or on my phone or anything in general, which gave me more time to be with my family at home and spend some time with them. So at that point, that good habit that I'm trying to nurture, that I'm trying to develop, is canceling out one of the bad habits that I was trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good
You
point.
got it, and that's something real estate, I remember, Joe Silva told me this when we were at KW. He said, dude, he said, real estate, if you let it, will destroy you, and it'll take your family away. He said, I let it ruin my marriage.
Yeah.
Like, and this is, I'm like 6 months into real estate, like, he's like, hey, dude, like, you need to be careful.
Yeah,
Because it will consume you. So you've got to, and that's just, with other jobs or whatever, but
right.
like what he said, you've gotta set boundaries.
Well, and like what Louis said, our habits are not always gonna be about real estate. I mean, that's kind of what we're
Yes,
focusing on a
yes.
little bit, but it's personal habits and
Mhm.
and family habits. Well, I will tell you that I do have a habit, like I don't answer real estate calls after 9 o'clock. And if any poor soul calls me at 10 o'clock at night, I call them at 5 o'clock in the morning when I wake up. Or I text them because I'm setting the stage that I do not take calls after that. There's nothing I can do. If there is an emergency, I can't do anything about it. Escrow is closed. There's nothing I can do. So I will text them at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, I missed your call. I was sleeping,
Yeah.
right? Then they know. They've just learned, right? But I do protect that time. I do. Like, I think it's important that you have to have some time. We need to schedule the time for our clients. We also need to schedule the time for ourselves.
Yep.
So that we have our sanity and our families and what we want to do and those type of things. So I think it is just as important. Gym time, I schedule my gym time. I put it in my calendar for my trainer. It's important to me. I schedule it and I book my appointments around my gym time. So, and clients don't know. They don't know what I'm doing. They don't know if I have a gym appointment at 9 o'clock. I just say, I'm sorry, I'm booked at 9, but I can meet you at 11. Right? So those.
I have time with that starting now. My kids have their activities and different things, and I was having my dad take them to their extracurriculars and working around whatever worked for anybody.
Right.
And been really trying to make it a point to be present at the things that are important for me.
Yeah, that's a good
And it
habit.
works. People will schedule around.
You just give them an option. I'm sorry, I can't, I'm booked tomorrow afternoon. I'm honestly just getting my hair done. But they don't know that I'm booked tomorrow afternoon, but I can do it this time or this time and give them a couple of other choices. Number one, it sets the stage that you are a professional and you are busy professional and your time is valuable. And they respect your time, you respect their time, right? And that's how you do it. But yeah, no, I think it's super important, like Luis said. And he came up with a different plan, a different habit.
Yeah, which I think would work better for me personally, like. Than identifying, oh my God.
Start with one.
Start with
Yeah.
doing good habits, form good habits.
Don't get overwhelmed, so we all have it.
Right.
We all do it.
I mean, and I don't,
At a time.
and do you think that it's even doable to eliminate all your bad habits?
Here-
And then we count one, the worst one, and then slowly adjust.
Start getting better.
Yeah, you gotta build, it's not about looking at.
Like I have a bad habit of eating red licorice, but I don't want to eliminate that bad habit. I like that bad habit. Right? I don't want that to go away. I just choose not to.
For you, it's not a bad habit.
It's a good habit.
As long as you don't use the hot tub every day, you're fine.
What, Chris?
Just replace them with veggie straw.
Veggie
They're identical.
She doesn't need a whole pack a day.
No, just replace it with black.
I don't want licorice.
Why is God good for you?
One of my bad habits is being on my phone when my kids need attention. And I'm looking at videos and my kids need attention. And my daughter points out, Mommy, you're always on your phone, you're not paying attention to me. And she's 7. And I'm like,
Yeah.
It's a bad
You
habit.
know, like that's a
Yeah,
really
it's
bad
motivation.
habit.
Yeah.
And I think being self-aware of that makes me have guilt. And then I'm like, oh, I don't wanna go.
And then they turn into teenagers and they think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen.
Well, I mean, you have to look at that and, actually, this popped into my mind when I was reading this too, is being on social media. can also be an addiction.
It is, I was
So-
supposed, but I'm looking at other people.
When you look at it and think about it that way, though,
Weird,
it's kind of like.
yeah.
I was reading him,
Because-
he's talking about. People who smoke cigarettes, right, that's all these different stress relievers. And I'm like, that's what I do each time, and I am disassociated.
That's my comfort zone. Like my comfort spot is on my couch, sitting down, fans on me, and I'm like scrolling through Facebook videos or seeing what people are doing. and posting.
Well, what they say they're doing.
Well, right, well, this activity is.
Right.
My comfort.
Yeah, life through a filter. Yeah,
And then, oh my gosh, we're glad to know.
yeah.
And then to like think about that in the same way as you would smoking cigarettes or drinking too much or doing something like that, which you should. Because of what you just said, I have the exact same thing, when my kids tell me, well, dad's always on the phone, or dad's always, or they come over to me and they stand, and they just wait.
Yeah,
Because they don't wanna interrupt me.
Or they're like
Fucking phone.
messing
like-
with me, they're messing with me, they're screaming
Mm-hmm.
on purpose because I'm on the phone.
Right.
And now I'm on phone escrow and they're screaming because I was just on videos, but they didn't know now I'm on phone escrow and they're screaming in the background.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
TikTok is the worst one for me. TikTok. And TikTok is a double whammy because for some reason I get all the feeds with the Amazon, the unboxing and the clothes,
Then you're.
which leads to spending. So Amazon, so it's not just the funny stuff, it's the spending that comes along with it. So I'm just like, stay off. Sometimes we just have to stay off of it.
Dog videos, they got it all.
Now I've got dog videos. Now I get lots of doodle.
When I caught myself spending too much, I uninstall the apps.
That's
So
cozy.
that makes me have to go. I
Yeah,
just spent
it's
too
like-
much.
Jackie is brutal. She installed apps.
So it's hard because then I usually go back and install them. But it makes you more steps. It makes it harder to do.
If you're moment, then if you're, oh, I'm gonna go down with that, then you have a thought, of, okay, well, I better not do that, and
Uh-huh.
stop.
Until I have something particular to buy. It's like when we talks about watching too much TV, how to make it harder for yourself. Well, I do go to and say, Alexa, put on this. So I know what I am gonna watch, and then I binge too much of it.
Yeah, yeah.
He talks to you right about like keeping yourself out of the areas that trigger you. I have come to realize that during the time of COVID, when I was mostly just doing Target drive ups, trying to stay out of the store and teach that. I spent so much less money.
Of course.
When I go into the store, oh my gosh, and it's pretty and everything looks pretty under the Target lights, right?
Well, yeah, you go into Target for,
It's there.
yeah.
You come out with
Yeah.
everything.
Go to Costco to get.
Oh, Costco.
$600.
Every time you go, you know,
It started on
Yes, that's why you have to stick to the list. Right.
There's no sticking to a list at Costco.
And has anybody ever been in the perfect moment trap? Like you've got to wait for everything to be perfect before you implement a habit.
So it has helped break.
I do not, I don't do that.
For me,
I
but
don't
yeah.
do that, but
Yeah,
Jackie
you
does
do
that.
Yeah.
Jackie,
And then I think, what would Sarah say right now?
Never gonna be in the perfect situation.
yeah, Jackie likes things to be perfect. Like, I'm like, Jackie, where is that post? Well, I had to, and I'm like, no, let me see it. Yeah, good. Let's just send it out.
Yeah.
Just do it, because if you get caught in that trap, you'll never take that step. You'll never be able to start it, because doing it is better than not at all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, did anybody have any favorite quotes from the second law or anything they want to talk about, bring up, comment on? Anybody? No, Connie, no?
No, I'm looking, like, we got it.
Anything you think we missed, Miss Connie?
No, there's so much. This was probably one of my favorite chapters. I love the whole thing about the culture, and just being around people who, who are going to support you. And I like the not focusing on bad habits as much as just kind of schedule your day and look at it and see. I know I spend way too much time online. I do. I mean, if I look at my time at the end of the day, I can look up and see how much I was online. It's a little bit shocking because it's cat videos or staging or, it's,
Yeah,
so that's why I have to stay within a time block. But no, I think it's good. I love everything about this book for sure. It's truly identifies some great opportunities to be a better husband, wife, grandma,
yeah.
spouse, everything. It's really good.
Anybody else have anything? Comments?
I love psychology, so like, I just love the idea of like taking things that are subconscious and turning them into like intentional.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So I think what I got out of this too, and what I keep thinking about is you have to be very self-aware. You just start doing, sometimes you do things like, oh, poor Jackie, when somebody buys me a bucket of red licorice, right? I just start grabbing it, and eating it, and I'm not aware. Like, I'm not aware, how many have I eaten? And I think you just need to be very self-aware of what you do.
well, that's the worst bad habit, man, and you're good there.
I don't smoke, I don't like alcohol, I mean, that is probably one of the worst things that I have.
Think back to those moments where Jackie gets you the tub of licorice.
Oh, and the dopamine, I'm so excited.
What did she ask for after? I think she read this book already.
Nothing. If anything, I already know, because Jackie's on a different scale. So she just looks at me and says, Jackie, why'd you buy me that? And so then it goes into the office upstairs, so she has to walk to it. So it's not that easy, it's the bed.
Right?
Yeah, it's,
You just gave us the key, right, to Sarah Park, here, right here.
Jackie, why? I don't like any more red
I'm
licorice.
just going to Costco and get a couple, just have them ready to go.
Oh,
Anytime Jackie needs to get bad news to Sarah from Starbucks.
No, she's so tell me that here is the licorice.
No, she knows for that. Well, actually, she rewards me with gratitude is when I bring this healthy snack. She's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, you brought this. So then I tested me to always throw in more of the healthy snacks.
Jackie does good. So next week, we are not here. We are Anaheim. So, but let's read the third, right? Yeah, the third law. And let's see if we can make a list of our habits.
Bad habits.
Bad habits, good habits. Let's see what we're doing. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for your input. See you soon.